Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be comparing these two models, the Rlaarlo Omni Terminator Carbon Fiber Edition and the MJX Hyper Go 10208. Now I've received a lot of comments asking which one to buy and which is the best, and that's what we'll answer in this video. So as you can see here, I have the models out of the box. Now straight away you can see that the MJX is slightly bigger in size than the Omni Terminator, and that's because the MJX is a proper 110 scale RC monster truck, whereas the Omni Terminator is a mini 110 scale. Here we can see the size difference from all the angles. From the front, the MJX is definitely wider and it's longer as well, so it has a longer wheelbase. Here's how the side profile looks like. From the rear also you can see the Terminator is slightly narrow and the MJX is wider. And if you take a look at from the bottom, the size difference is quite evident. On the Terminator we have this beautiful aluminum chassis. And the lower arms are quite sturdy. Whereas on the MJX, the lower arms are in plastic but they are flexible. And as you can see that the chassis is completely plastic. So the Terminator has a robust chassis and design, whereas the Hyper Go has plastic parts which are flexible. Here we can see the difference between the tires. The wheel of the Terminator is slightly smaller compared to the MJX. Here specifically we can see how thick the Terminator lower arms are, whereas the MJX have relatively thinner arms and they are flexible. Now the Terminator has the traditional body clips to hold the body, and the clips are actually tethered to the body, so you don't have to worry about losing them. Now here I have the carbon fiber edition, so this body is in Lexan and it is quite durable. I've bashed this truck a lot, and as you can see that the body is completely fine. It's not cracked. Whereas the Hyper Go has this clipless body mechanism with the latch. And even this is quite tough. You do get a roof skid plate over here and the rear skid plate as well. And you get the same on the Terminator, on the rear as well. But the disappointing thing about the Hyper Go is that the body does fly off when you bash the truck. So the clipless mechanism is not that great, and I wish MJX would have rather used body clips for this. Even this body is quite tough, but here you can see that I've managed to crack it both on the front and rear, as you can see. Now let's talk about the internals of the car. So firstly, take a look at the suspension. Now I've tuned the suspension on the MJX, whereas on the Terminator I've kept it stock. And as you can see, the suspension action on the Terminator is flawless. You don't need to work on the suspension at all. But on the MJX, unfortunately the suspension is just too stiff and you do need to change the oil to get it right. So in terms of the shocks, the suspension action, the Terminator is definitely better. On the Terminator you have this 7075 aluminum shock tower to which the body posts are mounted. Whereas on the Hyper Go, you have this plastic shock tower. The upper arms on the Terminator you can see are quite robust and they are quite thick. And on the lower arms you can see that you get carbon fiber inserts to add more strength to the arms. Whereas on the Hyper Go, the lower arm is completely one unit and it relies on flexibility. So even on a hard impact, the plastic will simply absorb the shock and it won't snap. The tread pattern, as you can see on the Terminator, is a bit more aggressive. And the quality of the rubber on the tires of the Terminator is good. Even the plastic of the rim is quite durable. Whereas the Hyper Go has this sledgehammer tire tread, but the quality of the rim is questionable because it's easy to break the wheel from the wall. So the overall quality of the wheel is better on the Terminator. On the Hyper Go we have this 35 kg waterproof servo and it's quite decent, I must say. On the Terminator we have an 11 kg fully metal servo, although I'm not sure if it's waterproof, but it is quite fast and strong. On the side we have this card, and we get the same on the Hyper Go as well. The battery tray on the MJX is definitely bigger, so you can easily fit in a bigger battery. For example, I have this 5000 mAh Forest battery and I can easily fit it in the battery box. Whereas on the Terminator, the battery tray is relatively small in size. Now since I've upgraded mine to a 4S system, I have this 4S battery. So here's how the space on the Terminator is. Rlaarlo ships a 2200 mAh 3S LiPo battery with this truck, which fits in here. Next, here we can see the center drive shaft, which is connected to the center diff. And the driveline on this truck is completely metal, and it's a 4-wheel drive truck. Here we have a carbon fiber chassis brace. Similarly on the Hyper Go also, you have a completely metal driveline, and this also has a center diff over here. So the center drive shaft connects the center diff and the front differential, and it is quite durable, as you can see. Plus this also has a center chassis brace that's connected to the front and rear shock tower to absorb the flex and impact. Now one thing which is better on the Hyper Go is this ESC and motor combo. So here we get a 120 amp 4S ESC, which is waterproof, and you can program this as well from your mobile device. It has a cooling fan as well, and here we have the motor with the heatsink and 2 cooling fans on it. On the Terminator you get a 60 amp 3S rated ESC and a brushless motor with a heatsink and a high RPM cooling fan. Now even though the Terminator has a fully metal driveline and it is quite strong, I really wish that the Terminator also had a 4S setup, and the driveline is more than capable of handling 4S power, but that's something which you can upgrade yourself as well. Here we have the receiver box, which is sealed, and on the Hyper Go the receiver box is below the ESC. It does have a silicone gasket, but I suspect how well it will keep the box waterproof. Now both on the Terminator and the Hyper Go we get sway bars on the front and rear, so you don't have to install it additionally. And the steering rod on the Terminator is adjustable. On the Hyper Go I've removed the sway bars. Now here the tie rod on the Hyper Go is adjustable, so you can adjust the camber, and for the front you can also adjust the toe in and toe out. So overall, as you can see, that the Rlaarlo Terminator is a much more robust and well designed RC truck. It has more metal parts in it, and the overall quality of the parts is much better than what you get on the MJX. The only downside which the Terminator has is its size, and although it's a mini 110 scale monster truck, if this was a proper 110 scale truck like the Hyper Go, without a doubt the Terminator would easily beat the Hyper Go in all aspects. Now here's the radio that we get with the Terminator. Now this one is a hot RC radio transmitter with 6 channels, and with the Hyper Go we get this a basic 3-channel radio system, which to be honest feels a bit cheap. This particular radio has all the functions and adjustments, and the steering and throttle is quite smooth, so you can adjust the trims and the endpoints, and it's a 6-channel radio system. And you do get a USB port which you can plug into the computer and use it. On this particular radio you don't have any of those fancy features, just a basic 3-channel radio, and that's about it. Now speaking about the accessories that we get with each of the car, here you can see that with the Hyper Go we have limited accessories, although MJX is known for shipping their cars with ample amount of goodies and upgrades. So here you get a bag of tools and some plastic rod ends, then a wheelie bar which you can install, and you have this extra set of lower arms with knuckle hubs. Now both of these are for the front, and you can see that they do flex a bit. And the instruction manual on the Hyper Go is quite good. It's very well explained. And of course you can tune the ESC by downloading the app. Now with the Terminator, like I said, you do get this battery, and that's something you don't get with the MJX. So 3S 2200 mAh battery. Instruction manual which is also quite alright. Although working on the Terminator is a lot more easier and user friendly. If you want to work on the Hyper Go, it's a bit of a task. With the Terminator you get the Velcro straps, additional mounts to extend the battery tray, a piece of cloth, and most importantly a USB charger. So the battery and charger is included with the Terminator, and you do get a wheelie bar as well, a quick start guide, differential gaskets, and most importantly you have a host of upgrades which are listed over here. So Terminator has a lot of upgrades that you can install, and these are offered from Rlaarlo directly, which you can purchase from their website. Unfortunately with the MJX we don't have any optional or upgrades from the manufacturer directly, and you get some stickers. On the Terminator you do get a LED strip, and it is quite bright and it glows in orange color. And similarly on the MJX also we have an LED light. On the Terminator we don't have any lights on the rear, but on the Hyper Go we do have rear tail lights, and these are actually useful if you're driving the truck at night. So that's what I had to share between these two cars. The MJX is definitely bigger in size, and it has a good presence and appeal. It's a proper 110 scale monster truck, whereas the Terminator is much more quality product. It's just that it's a bit small in size, and for the price that you pay, the Terminator is definitely a value for money package. With the Hyper Go you will have to spend a bit extra, especially with the battery and the charger, and you will have to work on the suspension and the differentials on the Hyper Go. The Terminator is set up well out of the box, and you can enjoy it directly. Now for me it's difficult to answer which one is better and which one you should get, but if I have to summarize this, my suggestion would be that the Terminator is a better product overall. It's very well designed, it is tough and robust, and you have a host of upgrades and replacement parts which are available on the Rlaarlo website. And whether you get the metal version or the carbon fiber version, you get everything in the box to run the car. So it's a proper RTR model, you can say. The MJX, on the other hand, you do need to spend a bit more extra, but if that's fine and you want a slightly bigger model which you can run and enjoy on a bigger field with a bit more extreme terrain, then I would suggest that the Hyper Go is a better choice. Because one thing that I've observed is that because the Terminator has a slightly smaller footprint and smaller wheels, it definitely struggles to run where you have some bigger rocks and pebbles. So you do need to consider where you want to run the truck and how the terrain is. But I personally enjoy both the trucks, and both of them have a unique driving style. So that's all I had to share in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you like the Terminator or the MJX Hyper Go 10208, and which one would you buy. So thanks a lot for watching, and do like this video if you found it informative and helpful. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe. That's all for now. I'll see you guys later.